Well, welcome back to another episode of Sky U Pod. It's just me tonight, so feel free to jump in the comment section here, breaking down the Gopher loss to Penn State, 26-25. The upset bed fell just a little bit short here. I was at the game, so I apologize if my voice is a little off. I was yelling, doing my best to get the team to get it done. It's a tough one, but you know, overall, very entertaining football game. Let's start with that. O-line, I thought, had a pretty strong performance overall. That's a really good front that they're taking on against Penn State. Penn State had a top 10 defense in pretty much every category. So I thought they played overall pretty well for what they were up against, and especially after the last game where they struggled so much, right? So I thought they did okay. The run game wasn't like amazing, but it was a lot better than what it had been at other times in this season. So I thought that was encouraging, and it just gave the offense enough to stay balanced and do some other things. But I mean, ultimately, guys, I think this one just came down to the Gophers needed to just be cleaner, have an overall cleaner game, and they didn't. Right, 2 turnovers, lost the turnover battle, 2-0. Defense made some plays that were kind of equal to turnovers, I guess you could say. But both of those turnovers happening on our side of the field kind of really hurt us. And then just I think another underrated play was just the first touchdown given up to Penn State was just a coverage bust, right? Letting the guy get behind you like that after you're playing so well and up on them, and to have to give that up to put them right back in it. And not that they're ever out of it, but too easy of a score there to give up on a play like that. So that one was kind of a gut punch as well. But yeah, I mean, to start the game, right? Let's just start from the beginning. To be able to force a 3-and-out right away, and then your offense goes down the field 9 plays, 70 yards, capped off by a Marcus Major 20-yard run for the touchdown. I thought he ran great all game. He looked really good throughout. I was surprised his average only was at 3.7 at the end of it. He finished with let's see here, 10 carries, 37 yards, and a touchdown. And a lot of it came on the one carry there, but I thought he looked pretty good overall. There's a lot of like runs mixed in there where we'd run like outside zone, wide zone, whatever you want to call it, and we, it worked like a little bit, but a lot of times it was losing us like a yard or two at a time. So, it wasn't the greatest rushing performance, but I thought it did enough to keep this offense balanced enough to be moving the ball. Yeah, and then you got the ball back again, right? And eventually you punted it back after only three plays. Defense is looking strong. Then they go for it, right? Penn State's next possession, they go for it at the 33 of Minnesota, and we were able. Anthony Smith sacked Drew Aller for a 12-yard loss, giving us the ball at midfield almost. So that was basically a turnover, right? Turnover and downs had the same effect. Here's the plays that I can't stop thinking about that are really driving me nuts here at the end is so we get the ball there. We Brosmer hits Daniel Jackson for a nice gain to get into Penn State's territory. And after that, it's 3 straight runs, a run for a loss, gain of 2 to Majors, and then again to Taylor for a yard. So we just cross into Penn State territory, and we settle for 3 straight runs. When we were having success throwing the ball over the middle, I mean, they were playing a single eye safety while they were trailing for a while, and I thought there were chances there to take shots down the field. The people I was sitting with there on first down pointed out like Daniel Jackson was 1-on-1 outside, and I mean that's a perfect opportunity when you're just across midfield to take a shot deep, and we didn't. We ran it 3 straight times. Dragon hit the field goal, which was great, but little bit of a missed opportunity there. It felt like went really conservative there. And then that next possession is the one I referenced already with Penn State. 2nd and 11 at our 45, and I don't know if it was Robinson. He looked like he passed it off and nobody was there, so I don't know who mixed it up, but it's a 45-yard touchdown for Penn State. You're in a 10-7 ball game. That was tough. And then your next drive, you start incomplete pass, Brosmer, then Darius Taylor gets you 8, then he gets another 4, so you just picked up first down. And yeah, Brosmer stepped up into the pocket on the next one, had some pressure, but just floated it right to Penn State's linebacker. That was maybe his worst pick on the season, probably. That was just first down, no need to force it, and he actually had, I think he was throwing to Spencer, if I remember right. If he would have let him, he actually looked like he might have been open, but just put it in a bad spot, and I think Spencer missed the tackle too, so they ran it back a decent ways. 29-yard return to our 23. Defense held tough though. 4 plays, minus 5 yards in total for Penn State there. Jack Henderson and Danny Strigo combined for a sack on 2nd and 6, and then they were able to get up the field on 3rd and long and forced a field goal. So it's a tie game there. Now we get the ball back after that, after the tie game, after the field goal to tie the game. We go on an 8-play drive, 23 yards, eat up some clock, right? I mean, that's what the offense needed to do when they weren't going to score, is just get their defense a breather, just because the Gophers all season really haven't been able to rotate a ton of guys in up front. They have a lot of guys on scholarship up front, so I think that's fair to question that, if that should be happening more. But at this point in the season, wasn't expecting that to change. So it's just important to at least, get them a breather when able, and to be able to put together a drive like that, wasn't the end of the world. And we ended up punting it down to their 3. So that's like the drive you want every time if you're not going to score points, but to be able to just flip the field like that, pin them inside their 5. And the Gopher defense, comes up big again. You stuff them, you force a 3 and out, and then special teams. Special teams deserves a huge shout out. This is the best special teams performance from a Gopher team in a long time, from start to finish. Block PAT and a block punt. I guess it didn't go backwards on this one, but I got a hand on it when we got at the 20-yard line, and turned into a sweep play. Reverse, flip back to Brosmer, who found Gears for a touchdown, and just like that, Gophers are up by 7 with about a minute left. Outing chimes in here. Brutal play calling in the red zone on 3 possessions. Yeah, that was, those and the turnovers, probably the ultimate decision at the end of the day of why we lost this game. Couldn't get the job done in the red zone, and it was tough. So everyone's going to talk about this. Penn State's moving the ball down the field. It's a 2nd and 4, and they take a shot. Beautiful coverage by, I think it was Robinson. I think Robinson was corner on the play, and it was great coverage. Terrible throw, way out of bounds. Refs throw a flag. It wasn't there. What really gets insult to injury is Jaw Joyner's held pretty obviously right in front of the quarterback as he throws that ball too. So we don't get the hold, and they get a phantom PI call. And yeah, they only had 4 yards to go, but it was 3rd and 4, and the defense overall had been playing pretty well up until that point. So to get them on 3rd and 4 and maybe come at them, perfect situation for a blitz or something, it was a big call. That was a big call, because that just ignited the rest of their drive. And yeah, we should have come up with a stop from there. We didn't, but they scored a touchdown. I was booing loud. A lot of fans were booing loud. Refs got the "refs you suck" chant, so that was nice to see. And then the blocked PAT, right? That was a huge play. It completely swung momentum back to us, to be able to pick it up and return it and go up by 3 into the half, and get the ball to start the next half. You were feeling like you missed out on a little bit of opportunity to be up by more, obviously, but a 3-point lead against Penn State at half with you getting the ball, it's exactly what you wanted. And, so we're feeling good at halftime. Offense comes out. goes down the field, and again, so because we hit a 13-yard pass. So the drive's going on. It's a 9-yard drive, and it ends in a field goal. But we just cross into Penn State's territory after converting a 3rd and 4. Then Brosmer hits Jackson for a 13-yard pass to the 29. Next 3 plays, guys: a run to Darius Taylor for 2 yards, a 5-yard run to Daniel Jackson, and a 2-yard run on 3rd and 3. And we settled for a field goal again. I don't understand when the balanced attack was working pretty well, that was twice that we crossed into their side of the field against a really good defense, and we just went super conservative. And I get it. You got Abdul Carter there, number 11. He's going to be a first-round pick, but your O-line had been playing pretty well, and a lot of your dropbacks were pretty safe. You had a lot of tight ends chipping, staying in, running backs were staying in. I know Darius ended up with a couple catches, but we didn't throw to him nearly as much as we usually do, if I remember correctly. He had 3 catches on, I think at least one of those was when he was split out wide. So it wasn't a lot of catching out of the backfield this game. I just thought that was another wasted opportunity. And those 2 possessions of when we settled for field goals, there's the 3rd one at the end too, and we'll get to that. But you're moving the ball, and all of a sudden, it's like as soon as you got into Penn State's territory, you just got super conservative, and all after, 19, 20-yard pass plays that got you there. And those were there, especially when you were leading. Penn State had more guys down around the line of scrimmage. So the shots were there down the field, and I thought we could have done that more. Obviously, PJ felt differently. So, we kick a field goal to go up by 6. Penn State punts it to us. We can't do anything with it. We punt it right back. Really bad punt. 32-yard punt from Mark Crawford. Didn't exactly flip the field there. And Penn State's able to march it 5 plays, 57 yards, and take the lead by 1. Thought the defense, you could see, was starting to get a little worn down at that point. Wasn't as strong up front. And, Penn State's a good team. They have a really good offensive line. They're known for a good offensive line this year and 2 great backs. And it showed too many times here. And this is also where they were just hitting Warren right off the start. And I know he's a fantastic player, one of the best offensive players in the Big Ten. I don't get how they really do a good job. I guess we'll flip it. We'll say Penn State did a good job of just like he just kind of stood by the line of scrimmage and really sold out of just pass blocking or on the run, on the play action, and he just kind of turns and they just flip him the ball, and the offensive linemen are down the field blocking for him, and I just don't know. I thought we looked a little unprepared for that part, to be honest, because they had shown that all year against everybody. And just man up on him and grab him if he's just standing at the line. Grab him until he starts to try and run around, and then cover him. But yeah, they had Lindenberg on him a lot in the first half, and then it kind of switched to Coy in the second half, which worked out a little bit better. But I think it was basically after this drive here that they switched it to kind of more of Coy covering him. So he is a good player. I know it's way easier said than done, but I felt like they just did what they do with him, and we couldn't really stop it. So that was unfortunate. And then the next drive, it's the killer. We're moving the ball a little bit. You pick up a first down. It's 1st and 10. Excuse me. We just picked up. We just moved the ball 5 yards. It's 2nd and 5, the first play of the 4th quarter, and Brosmer just drops the ball. I'm not sure what happened. A little bit of a low snap, but it looked like he recovered it. I think he was trying to pitch it out there to the back, and just kicked it out of his own hand, and that was tough. You can't have that right there in that moment. Yeah, that was a tough one. So you're down 1, and you gave them the ball right there at your own 41-yard line. So and then Penn State ate a little bit of clock, 3 minutes, 7-play drive, added a field goal. Defense held tough when they needed to. You're down 4, or I'm sorry. Yeah, you're down 4 at that point, right? Yeah. Then you respond, right? The offense is moving the ball down the field. Let's see, how long was the completion? You had Elijah Spencer for 23 yards. He's so close to staying up and getting into the end zone. And obviously that would have been huge because we ended up getting stopped. But man, it was a great throw, a great play by Elijah Spencer to break free. And if he could have just stood on his feet through that one last tackle, it would have been huge. But 1st and 8 from first and goal from the 8-yard line, one run minus 1 yard. Then you try the second down. Everyone's talking about this play. You try the throwback, to your left tackle on 2nd and 8 from. I don't like that play call at all. I know it's easy to say once it didn't work. To me, when you're doing the throwback, I like it inside the 5. Like they're sucked up at the line looking for the run, or if you're rolling out, they're on their guys tight, and then it's just less distance for your tackle to run. Throwing it back to him, and he stepped back. So I mean, he was going to have to run like 10 yards to get into the end zone there. And I don't like it. And then because, then you're only giving yourself one shot on 3rd and 8. Everyone looked pretty covered. Rosemer made an okay pass, and it was just a little too far out of reach for Elijah Spencer there. And, just with how the game was flowing at this point, I know it's easier said than done. I would have gone for it. You're going to need the stop to begin with. If you don't get it, they're at their own 8-yard line, so they have a lot of ways to go to march down and get, because even at that point, it's a 4-point game. If you hold them to a field goal, even after marching all that way, it's still a 1-score game. But, they settle for the field goal. They have all 3 timeouts. You still have the 2-minute warning, so I don't think it's the worst play decision PJ made this game. But he kicks the field goal. We're down 1, and there's, I think, 5:48 left on the clock, it said. Yeah, 5:48 left in the 4th, and the Penn State, man, they just 12-play drive, 72 yards, eat up all the clock, and that's all she wrote. Had a couple chances there. Well, I guess we got to talk about the fake punt. We'll get to it. Looks like we're going to get the stop. It was just so 2nd and 4, loss of 5, 3rd and 9, and you let Drew Eller run for it. Couple guys just couldn't quite bring him down. He squirts forward, so it's a 4th and 1. Here comes Penn State rolling out the punt team. They run a fake punt on 4th and 1. They probably could have QB sneaked it and got it with how it was going at that point. But I don't know how you're not ready for it. Gutsy call for sure, but you should be playing safe with how they were moving the ball on you that second half. You should have just Coy back. I would have had, basically your base defense out there. And if they punt it and you got to go the distance, that's what you got to do. But that was just a brutal call. And I felt like it, that's where you call a fake punt too. So it didn't, to me, I didn't think it felt like the opportunity where he should have been caught off guard that they were trying something, but it did. And it was a huge gain, 31 yards. So then you're hoping to get a stop quick, right? Because they're eating a lot of clock at this point. You're taking your timeouts towards the end, 4th and 1. And this was the play call that I thought was really gutsy was to throw it. Like I thought for sure they would kick. Well, not kick. I get them not kicking it after they had a blocked extra point, but I thought for sure they'd just go up and try and shove the quarterback forward or let Warren try and run it up the gut again, and make us go the distance with like about 20 seconds left. But they went for a pass, and it was kind of a wonky looking play. Again, the pass rush never really got to Aller on that one, and when they did, it's like everyone was sucked up at that point, and I believe it was Coy who was supposed to be covering Warren. Really the one guy that they would throw it to in that situation. They always go to him in key situations, and again, we lost track of him. Unfortunate, and he catches it, lays down, and that was it. Penn State let the clock run out, and that was your final. So, yeah, I mean, it was such a different game. I predicted, on one hand, we played a lot better than I thought we were going to be able to. And then on the other hand, it's just like, we made so many costly mistakes and we're still right there. And I thought that, I thought we were going to have to be forcing the 2 turnovers and being able to move the ball a little bit on the ground, which I think Penn State did end up out rushing us, but no one ran it great. They had 33 carries for 117 yards. We had 36 for 106. So it was about equal on the ground. And honestly, I thought you could say like maybe both O lines I thought held up pretty well against the opposition's D line. Obviously, I think Penn State's was a little bit more athletic, seemed to close down on some things a little quicker, but defense did okay. I thought they just got worn down at the end, and I don't know how we lost Warren so many times, but it's happening to everybody. So he's a special player. Yeah. So I I hate the throwback to your left tackle there, Ursery on 2nd and 8. And I know there's a lot of people defending PJ on the call. I think it's pretty bad. Especially when you're down at the 8 and you took one shot into the end zone. You run it up the gut for a loss. I just, I know the trick play had worked out earlier. I don't like it there. I know it's easy to nitpick it now, but and again, the things that really irritate me though, you think even more than that play are when we got the ball into Penn State's territory and we just settled for like long field goals. I think it was a 48 and a 42 yarder. So it wasn't like we were deep into their territory, but we just went run, run, run. And I'm sure PJ probably said something along the lines where if it's 4th and short, we're going for it. But we didn't get it there. Yeah, just tough. Thought the O-line really had a strong bounce back game. I don't think it was Brosmer's best game. He had a couple nice throws. The one to Daniel Jackson up the seam, that was tight. Probably a little lucky on that one, but he did make a couple nice throws. Just the drop on that, the fumble deep in our own territory, that was huge. You just can't have that if you're going to pull off the upset. Coverage wise, again, it was, how many passing yards did Penn State end up with in the end? 244, and 102 of that was to Tyler Warren. No, of course, 45 of it came on the one play to Omari Evans. That's the play that also I think that bugs me the most out of anything the defense did was just the bomb, because you were playing so well and you just stay over the top and couldn't do it, unfortunately. And I know Penn State's a good team, so that'll happen, but just the coverage bust. So yeah, and especially I picked this to be, about a 3-score loss. 28-10 was my prediction, and to get the special teams plays that you got and your defense be able to slow down Penn State's offense for a good chunk of the game, at least in the first half, and just to make the mistakes we did, that was tough. And I just didn't think the offensive play calling was very good overall, to be honest. I know we put up 25 on Penn State, and that's tough to do. Just thought they're just too conservative, just way too conservative. And then they pull out the trick play to the left tackle. So it's just like a mixed bag of, I don't know. And I didn't listen to the clip. I saw the headlines of PJ saying if he had the chance, he'd run it again. He'd run it every time or something like that. The trick play to Ursery. They liked what they saw. It wasn't open, so I don't know why you you're trying to catch him off guard and it wasn't there. It is what it is. So that's the play a lot of people are talking about. And the pass interference, which was brutal. It's not the only reason we lost. You went to halftime with the lead, and then you extended that lead, so you got to get over it. But yeah, it was tough. Jaw Joyner, and then the no call on Jaw Joyner. I thought there was 2 bad ones. The one on the one they called the pass interference, and then Nick Singleton had a long run. I think it was on that final drive that kind of got it down to where we had to use our last timeouts. He picked up a good gain there, and I thought Jaw just literally got grabbed and turned as he ran through the hole. But it is what it is. I don't think we got called for holding at all, so it's probably about even, I guess, there. But man, it's tough. Nice game for Dragon. Crawford had one great punt, one crap punt, and then the other one was all right. But it is what it is, guys. I really feel like this game in general is just kind of a really good encapsulation of what the season has been. If you're a Gopher fan, it's a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? You're right there again. We're 6-5 now. You really wanted the North Carolina one. The Iowa game, you're up at half. The Michigan onside kick, you give up a blocked punt. You're so close yet so far away. Man, so I think I saw people reacting to something. PJ talked about how good of a team we are, even though we're 6-5. So a little bit defending. He's got. And he didn't even. This game wasn't going to get PJ fired or anything. It was just it was a couple critical calls, and I didn't think they did a good job. Ursarita seemed to play pretty well in his matchup. He did, and I don't know if he was always going against number 11 for Penn State, Carter, but they got multiple. They have multiple DNs that are going to go in the draft. So, yeah, he looked really good. He's going to be drafted very high. So it's going to suck that he's moving on when the O-line was kind of struggling this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they do to replace him. I'm sure a tackle in the portal is a high priority, but you're going to have to pay for one if you're expecting to get a starting caliber. So we'll see how that goes. Buy your duck beer and help out if you are able, if you feel the call. Yeah, overall, I thought Marcus Major had a good game. Taylor looked healthier. He had a couple nice runs. If I'm being picky, I thought they danced on a couple plays a little too much, but overall, that was some tough sledding. Penn State's got a really good defensive front, so it is what it is. And then Jackson was pretty good. He had a tough drop. Gears had a tough drop, but they both bounced back and made plays. Elijah Spencer finished with only 2 catches, but both of them were huge, and almost got that one into the end zone. So again, though, Penn State guys, if go back and watch when the Gophers are up, not every play, but a lot of the play, they're only having one safety back there, or at least they're letting a lot of their guys line up one on one on the outside, and we didn't take shots. And if that's a personnel issue, like that falls on PJ at this point. We're on year 8, and they have everybody near the line of scrimmage and just daring you to try something deep to beat them, and we didn't do it consistently enough. I thought we could have taken a lot more shots down the field this game. That was frustrating, just being there in the stands, seeing that. But overall, and maybe I'm sounding a little too negative, as it was a closely contested game. Obviously they had some difference makers that we didn't, but I didn't feel like we were totally outmatched this game or anything. So I I know he just lost to him, and he actually finished with good stats: 21 of 28, 244 passing for Drew Aller and a touchdown. I don't think Aller's very good, to be honest. And I know that's me saying it on the night we just lost to him, but there was times where they had their guy Warren one-on-one twice with Coy, I think. So he's got a huge size advantage, and he didn't even put the ball in play. He didn't even give Warren a chance to make a play on the football. So I think, and that's just I'm trying to be a casual observer there. That's not me trying to hate on Penn State just because they just beat us. I think that's a disadvantage for them if they're going to make the playoff now, assuming they beat Maryland. I think is their last game of the year. I think it's Maryland, which they should win. But I don't know if Aller's the guy, and he's much better when he's being running around making plays, like obviously. But I would run him more if I'm Penn State, because that seemed to be when at least the Gophers had the most difficult stopping them. But yeah, guys, that was that game. It was just too conservative play calling when you finally got there. Again, 4th and goal from their 8. I would have loved to go for it there, because you really only got one shot into the end zone there, and it's a tough defense. So when were you going to get back down there against that team? It was tough. It's tough sledding. But yeah, guys, we got one game left here. Short week. Head into Madison next week. I'm not. Team is obviously. Battle for the Axe, 11 a.m. I think on Black Friday. So, 7-5. If you can finish 7-5 and get the Axe, all right, right? I think everyone can stomach that. I'm trying to keep perspective because Vegas had us at what 4.5 wins, I think, and a lot of people didn't know how many we're going to win. So, but just seeing the schedule and how close we've been in so many of these losses, and I know we've had some close wins. I'm not blind to that. UCLA and USC are on right now. Both of those were close games, maybe coin flip games that could have gone the other way that you did get in your favor. But, oh, yeah, it's tough. Makes the Rutgers game a little bit more frustrating too. Just getting to 7-5, potentially 8-4, if you can beat Wisconsin, who, man, did not look good today against Nebraska. That was way more points too than I thought was going to be scored in that game. I thought I wasn't sure it was going to win, but I thought for sure it would be low scoring. Just they both have solid defenses, and Nebraska put it on them, and good for them, I guess. But yeah, I don't mind seeing the Badgers lose, I guess. And yeah, it just 8-4 or 7-5 would look a lot better as far as your bowl selection goes. I know we're not probably going to a New Year's Bowl at this point, obviously, but if you can finish 7-5, you might get to like the Music City Bowl. That might put you in play for the Music City Bowl, depending on what how it all shakes out for everybody else. Illinois won today, and if they win next week, they have a chance to get to 9. So I think they'll probably be a prime pick for either the Outback Bowl or the Citrus Bowl. They'll be up there. Whoever doesn't get, it'll be interesting to see what Indiana does, because they're probably not going to the conference championship at this point, right? So they're going to snag a nice bowl game if they don't get to the playoff. But if they get in the playoff, that opens up another spot to move up. But and the Huskers are a huge draw too. So I know they might finish 6-6 only, but I have a feeling, just given that it's been a while for them, that they'll probably get the nod over the Gophers in the tier system, because Husker fans are notorious for traveling, so it is what it is there. But finish strong. It's a winnable game against Wisconsin, and Thanksgiving weekend is the best time to play in Madison, because half the students are gone. They went home for Thanksgiving. It's the easiest time, we'll say that, to play in Madison, just with the kind of sleepy atmosphere right after Thanksgiving. So, it'll be a big one. They're going to want it too, because they need to win to keep their bowl streak alive. So, more motivation for the Gophers to end that. That'd be sweet. And, PJ sounded from the sound bites, from what people tweet out, it sounds like PJ was pretty, complimentary of Penn State, but fired up about his own team. So probably frustrated to fall short, obviously, but it is what it is. Just kind of how it's gone this year overall. Close calls, games you should have won, feel like you could have won. 6-5 at this point. We'll see where it goes, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe button, does a lot for the channel, gets us out there, does good for the algorithm. Appreciate you tuning in, and feel free to check out the College Huddle, as we are your Gopher football College Huddle affiliate. So appreciate you all. Have a good night. Enjoy watching college football here, and we'll see you next time.